The face of a screaming man, frozen for 3 millennia, tells a silent, horrifying story. It was 1881, amidst the dusty, sun-baked sands of Deir el-Bahari, that a cache of royal mummies yielded a truly disturbing discovery. Not just pharaohs and queens, but something far more unsettling, a mummy whose face was contorted in an eternal, guttural scream. This wasn't a unique anomaly. Over subsequent decades, other screaming mummies would surface, each presenting the same macabre visage. Their silent agony begged a profound question: what horrific circumstances could lead to such a bizarre and seemingly agonizing preservation? For centuries, these mummies were relegated to the footnotes of Egyptology, a curious oddity. Mainstream scholars often dismissed the contortion as post-mortem facial collapse, a natural consequence of decomposition and the mummification process itself. But was it really that simple? The true mystery lay not just in the scream, but in the identities of these unfortunate individuals, and the stark contrast between their apparent suffering and the usual serene, dignified presentations of the Egyptian elite. Something was profoundly different here. Let's first examine the most famous case, Unknown Man E, found in the royal cache at Deir el-Bahari. His body was not fully mummified in the traditional sense. Instead, he was wrapped in sheepskin, a material considered ritually impure by the ancient Egyptians. This deliberate desecration, combined with the screaming face, hinted at a dark narrative. The individual had clearly suffered a violent end, and his burial was an act of profound condemnation rather than respectful passage to the afterlife. For decades, theories abounded. Was he buried alive? Was it a curse, a torturous death? Without modern forensic tools, the answers remained frustratingly out of reach, fueling speculation and cementing his status as one of Egypt's most enigmatic figures. Then, in the early 21st century, advancements in CT scanning and DNA analysis offered a new pathway. A team of Egyptian researchers, led by Dr. Zahi Hawass, decided to re-examine Unknown Man E with the precision of modern science. The scans revealed something astonishing. Inside the mummy's throat, a ligature mark consistent with strangulation. He hadn't just died violently, he'd been executed. The contorted face wasn't post-mortem collapse. It was the final, agonizing gasp of a man being choked to death. But who was this man? And why such a brutal end, followed by such a dishonorable burial? DNA analysis provided the final, jaw-dropping piece of the puzzle. Unknown Man E was, in fact, Pentower, the son of Pharaoh Ramesses III. Ramesses III, a powerful pharaoh of the New Kingdom, had faced a major conspiracy to overthrow him. The Harem conspiracy, as it's known, involved several of his wives and high-ranking officials, all plotting to place Pentower on the throne. The conspiracy failed. Ramesses III was assassinated, but the plotters were caught and brought to justice. The ancient judicial papyri, meticulously preserved, describe how the conspirators, including Pentower, were condemned to death. The papyri states that Pentower was left to his own devices. This euphemism is now understood to mean he was given the honor of taking his own life, likely by poison or strangulation, sparing him the public humiliation of a common execution. However, the indignity of the sheepskin wrapping and the lack of proper mummification confirmed his condemnation. He was denied passage to the afterlife as an honored royal, a fate far worse than death for an ancient Egyptian. So the screaming mummy of Unknown Man E was not just a medical curiosity, but a chilling testament to a royal scandal, a failed coup, and the brutal justice system of ancient Egypt. His face, frozen in agony, tells a story of betrayal and execution. But what of the other screaming mummies? Could they too be victims of similar political machinations or violent ends? The case of Unknown Woman, or the Lady of the Scream, offers another tantalizing clue. Her identity remains unconfirmed, but forensic analysis again points to a violent death, possibly from a sudden hemorrhage or heart attack, with the mouth left agape at the moment of death. Her lack of proper mummification also suggests a hasty or unconventional burial. These cases force us to reconsider the entire narrative of ancient Egyptian mummification. It wasn't always the serene, ritualized process depicted in textbooks. Sometimes it was a grim record of violence, political intrigue, and profound dishonor. The screaming mummies are a stark reminder that even in death, the dramas of human life, ambition, betrayal, punishment, it could leave an indelible mark, preserved for millennia in the most haunting way imaginable. They challenge our romanticized notions of ancient Egypt, revealing a society capable of immense cruelty and complex political maneuvering, even within the sacred rites of passage to the afterlife. These aren't just artifacts, they are silent witnesses, their faces telling stories that transcended time, waiting patiently for science to give them a voice. The agony etched upon their visages is a window into a hidden, brutal chapter of history. From the sands of Deir el-Bahari, the screams echo, no longer a mystery, but a compelling narrative of ancient power, rebellion, and a son's tragic end. Uncover another hidden chapter of history by delving into our next exploration of forgotten secrets.